Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from Homestead High School for this evening's SAC Showdown featuring the away team, the 2-11 Northside Legends, who are coached by Gary Andrews, who is in his first season at the school, and the number 7 ranked team in Class 4A, the 12-1 Homestead Spartans, who are coached by Chris Johnson, who is in his 20th season at Homestead. Hello once again, everyone. I'm Donnie Harmon alongside Matt Salfrank, and we are just about 15 minutes away from tip-off. But for now, let's start with the Casa Ristorante pregame show. And Matt, this Homestead team is on a 9-game winning streak, winning big games against big opponents. What is it going to take for someone to stop them right now?
Well, it's going to take quite a bit for someone to stop this Homestead team you mentioned. Quite on a roll, 12-1 on the season. Overall, 3-1 in conference, with the only loss being to Dwenger by 3 points in a game where they led by 13 points after the first quarter, so they really haven't been outplayed at all this season. It's going to take a lot for someone to stop this Homestead team. Goody and Kruger, they didn't really have the best games against Columbia City. We didn't broadcast that one, but I believe they both combined for something like 13 points or so. I believe Trent Loomis actually led the team in scoring that one out. Grinsfeller also had double figures. So you're going to have to somehow be able to stop Goody and Kruger and then hope you have a really good offense. And even if those other players step up, you're just going to have to figure out how to outscore those other players somehow. Really, you're going to have to shut down Goody and Kruger and hope the other players don't go off for too much. And if a team is going to beat this Homestead team, they're going to have to try to beat this Homestead defense, which is very, very solid. One of the best in the area. I believe they're top 15 in the state or so in terms of points allowed per game in the low 40s. Very impressive defense. So if a team is going to beat Homestead, they're going to have to put up some points and try to shut down their top scorers.
And right now, Homestead is finding ways to win, even if their top stars and Luke Goody and Zach Kruger have off nights. What does it say about this Homestead team?
Well, it says quite a bit about this Homestead team. If both your top two scorers are having off nights, as they did against Columbia City, the team only put up 42 points. Columbia City scored 31, so a great defensive performance for Homestead. 42 points, not the greatest offensive performance. I believe that's actually their lowest point total on the season, 42. It's kind of surprising they scored that few, but Goody and Kruger didn't have the best of games. But it's just going to come down to this Homestead defense. If they're able to, keep shutting down opponents that have high-powered offenses, it doesn't matter if Goody and Kruger need to go each for over 15 points or each go for 20 points. The defense is doing its job, and that's what it's going to take if Homestead wants to lose or if they want to keep winning. Rather, just defense keep playing well, and their offense is important, but it's not too important. As long as you can hold the team that you're playing to pretty much nothing. They've played quite a few good players this season, and Caleb First, he was one of them for Blackhawk, about 6'10". They basically shut him down. He really didn't do much in that Blackhawk Christian game when Homestead acquired the traveling trophy. Homestead's defense played very, very well in that one I mentioned. They only put up 44 points. They averaged about 80 points per game on the season, which is like top 3 in the state or something. So you want Goody and Kruger to have good nights, but it's all about this Homestead defense and how they can just completely shut down opponents.
And that's going to take us to our first break of the evening. But when we come back, we will take a look into what we will see from the Northside Legends. So stay tuned. You're listening to the home of Homestead Spartan Basketball, the Point 91 FM.
Homestead Athletic coverage on the Point 91 FM is brought to you by
Marco's Pizza, located at 1345 Illinois Road, inside the shops of Scott Road. Marco specializes in pizza, cheesy bread, subs, salads, and many other menu items. You can place an order for delivery or carry out by calling 625-6800. That number once again is 625-6800. You can also order online at marcos.com. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
Arby's at Coventry, located at 5755 Falls Drive across from Zestos. Arby's is more than roast beef with turkey, ham, brisket, bacon, chicken tenders. Arby's has the meats. Arby's at Coventry is open for breakfast at 6 a.m. all the way to midnight. To find more information, find Arby's on social media and online at arbys.com.
And now, let's head back out to the gymnasium for more Homestead Spartan Boys basketball, right here on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back live to Homestead High School for this evening's conference matchup featuring the number 7 ranked Homestead Spartans and the Northside Legends. I'm Donnie Harmon alongside Matt Salfrank, continuing on here in the Casa Ristorante pregame show. And Matt, let's be honest, this Northside team practically lost everything from a year ago. What do you expect from them tonight?
Well, I'm looking on the court right now, and there's one player that's noticeably missing from last year's squad, and that is Keon Brooks. He obviously left the team and went to play at a prep school, Lalamere. They're one of the best in the entire country. So this Northside team basically lost everyone from last year, completely rebuilding program similar to the girls team. They have a new head coach this year, Gary Andrews, first year at Northside. They're 2-11 overall, 0-4 in the SAC, even though they have the second fewest wins in the conference. Lures only has 1 win. Lures has actually been very competitive in this game, in their games so far in the season. Northside is getting blown out by quite a bit each game. They're losing by about 28 points per game every time they play. They're on a 6-game losing streak. It's going to take a lot for this Northside team to compete with this such very highly ranked Homestead team, ranked 7th in Class 4A, only 1 loss on the season. Northside 11 losses. It's going to take quite a bit from this Northside team if they want to keep up with Homestead. They basically don't have any returning players at all. I believe they actually don't have a single returning varsity player from last year on this year's roster. Only 2 wins, I mentioned, 11 losses, so completely a rebuilding season this year at Northside.
And their top player on the year, Mike Scott, I don't see him, so don't know what to say about that. But we're going to take another break, but when we come back, you'll get the chance to hear my sit-down with Homestead head coach Chris Johnson, so stay tuned. You're listening to the home of Homestead Spartan Basketball, the Point 91 FM.
Homestead Athletic coverage on the Point 91 FM is brought to you by
Marco's Pizza, located at 1345 Illinois Road, inside the shops of Scott Road. Marco specializes in pizza, cheesy bread, subs, salads, and many other menu items. You can place an order for delivery or carry out by calling 625-6800. That number once again is 625-6800. You can also order online at marcos.com. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
Welcome back to the Casa Ristorante pregame show. I'm now joined by Homestead Spartan head basketball coach Chris Johnson. And, Coach, taking a look back to the last time your team was on the court, you guys got a 42-31 victory over Columbia City. Can you give us some thoughts on your team's performance in that game?
Well, I thought that I knew it was going to be a low possession ball game. And that's fine. I mean, it shows that we can play either way, low possession, high possession. We try to play and get our kids ready for either style because you're going to have to be prepared for either style once sectional time starts. So I thought the main thing was we weren't hitting shots, but I thought that we were rushing shots in the first and second quarter rather than really being patient, getting the ball inside out. And I thought we did that in the third and fourth quarter to where we were able to extend the lead and get a good victory at Columbia City this past Tuesday.
And coming into the season, your team had lost a lot of talent with only 2 players who received any real varsity minutes returning. And your team currently sits at 12-1 and ranked 7th in 4A. Have the Spartans exceeded even your own expectations to this point in the year?
Well, I put a lot of pressure on myself to try to put ourselves in the best possible position to be successful. You know, that's my job as a coach. That's our job as the coaching staff. But to sit here and say, would we be 12-1, I would have taken that in a heartbeat if somebody would have said that at the beginning of the year. But I think, all the credit goes to the kids for putting themselves into this position to be successful. They like each other. We have great chemistry. We're not worried about the me aspect of it, and as a coaching staff, we always talk about that, and everybody talks about that as far as, make it be me rather than, or we rather than me. And, our kids are doing that. It's been fun thus far. We still have 5-6 weeks before the tournament season starts. But we're right in the thick of things as far as with the SAC race, and hopefully we can continue that success come tonight against Northside.
Coach Chris Johnson joins me here in the pregame show, and lately the play of some of your role players has really stepped up, particularly Trent Loomis, who has had his best games of the year recently. What can you say about the way he's played lately and how it has helped your team?
Well, I mean, I have, just like I said at the beginning of the year, or I've said to you prior to, or to other people at the beginning of the year, I have high expectations for Trent with his ability, with what he can do. He's long. He can shoot the basketball. With his length, it's tough to shoot over him. So, I'm not surprised. I think the more and more we're getting into the season to where he sees he can play at this level, he's getting more and more confident in his ability. And that's showing. So, if other people are being locked down, if they're wanting to leave him open, I trust him being able to shoot the basketball, being able to get to the basket, doing all the things that anybody else can do for us to be successful.
And tonight you take on a Northside team, obviously in rebuild mode right now, but what else can you tell us about this Legends team?
Well, they've got a big guy in the middle that's going to, give us some issues if we're not where we need to be. But, just like what you said, we understand that they're in a little bit of a rebuild, but you can't take anybody lightly. I think they got beat by 30-something to Wayne the first time they played them in the SAC tournament, and then turned around and played them a week or two later and only got beat by 7. So they must be improving. We're going to have to be able to hit shots. We're going to have to make sure that our kids are prepared and ready to go, and hopefully we're ready to go for tonight.
Once again, I'm joined by Coach Chris Johnson here in the pregame show. And against a team like Northside that sits at the bottom of the conference, do you have to coach your team differently to avoid a letdown, or do you know what you'll get each night from this group?
Well, I feel like we know what we're going to get each night from this group. To sit here and say we weren't prepared for Tuesday is not right. You look at the score and 16-13. At halftime, our kids were ready. Columbia City had a good game plan. I knew they were going to stretch the defense and hold the basketball. But, we have to be prepared for that type of game. And, I don't want anybody to think that we weren't ready or our kids weren't ready, because I think that we were. So, it's the same way with tonight. I think that our kids are prepared. Our kids are ready to go. I'm not really concerned that, they're going to have a letdown. But, it comes to where the mental part of the game needs to be there, and hopefully our kids, again, are ready for tonight's game against Northside.
Finally, Coach, can we get a few keys to a Homestead Spartan victory tonight?
Well, it's going to be the same as always. Being able to handle the basketball, make sure that we're stopping them in transition, keep them off the boards, and continue our defensive success. We've been, very good on the defensive end this year and keeping people in front of us and making it difficult for them to score. So that's what we want to continue to do tonight.
All right, Coach, thanks, and good luck this evening.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more of the Casa Ristorante pregame show leading up to tip-off of tonight's game. It's Homestead and Northside right here on your Spartan Sports Source, the Point 91 FM.
Arby's at Coventry, located at 5755 Falls Drive across from Zestos. Arby's is more than roast beef with turkey, ham, brisket, bacon, chicken tenders. Arby's has the meats. Arby's at Coventry is open for breakfast at 6 a.m. all the way to midnight. To find more information, find Arby's on social media and online at arby's.com.
And now, let's head back out to the gymnasium for more Homestead Spartan Boys basketball, right here on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back to Homestead High School as we get ready for this conference clash between Homestead and Northside. I'm Donnie Harmon alongside Matt Frank as we continue on here in the Casa Ristorante pregame show. And Matt, let's quickly get into some starting lineups here for the home team, the number 7 ranked team in Class 4A, the Homestead Spartans. That'll be the usual starting lineup for them, with Zach Kruger and Zach Miller in the backcourt. Zach Kruger averaging 14.4 a game, second on the team. Trent Loomis, the senior forward, will be out there along with sophomore guard Luke Goody, the 6'6 sophomore, leading the team in scoring and rebounding, field goals and three-point field goals made. And then down low, it'll be the 6'4 junior Alec Grinsfelder. Now for this Northside Legends squad, a squad completely different from the team we saw a year ago. In the backcourt, they will have the 5'11 sophomore guard Ronald Collins and the 5'8 senior guard Dravion Braden. Also joining them in the backcourt will be 6'1 freshman guard Rodney Woods. And then in the front court will be the 6'4 senior forward Trayshawn Scholes, also a receiver on the Northside football team. And then down low, the big 6'6 sophomore center Demetrius Clark. And Matt, we don't really expect this one to be a competitive game, but this Northside team, if you overlook them, they can make you pay.
For sure, they definitely can. You got to talk about Demetrius Clark, the 6'6" sophomore forward / center, one of the tallest players and biggest players. He's a very big player compared to what Homestead has faced this season. I expect him to get a lot of looks down low. Another player, Trayshawn Scholes, you mentioned he was a receiver on the football team, the 6'4" senior forward. He's another one of the taller players on this Northside team. They do have a couple of undersized guards, Dravion Braden, 5'8", and Ronald Collins, 5'11". Their guards are a little undersized, but their players in the front court are very, very large. I expect them to go down low quite a bit more than outside in this one.
And which one, some of these players on Northside do you have an eye on?
Well, it's got to be Demetrius Clark. I mentioned the 6'6" sophomore forward / center, the tallest and the biggest player on the court at all times. Likely no one is as big as him, as much dominance as he can improve down low in the paint. I expect this Northside team to go to him quite a bit as he's oversizing basically any Homestead defender. Alec Grinsfelder will likely be guarding him, is what my guess is Grinsfelder, one of the best defenders on this Homestead team and also one of the tallest players for Homestead.
Homestead right now currently on a 9-game winning streak. Started off the season 3-0, dropped a game against Wenger. A lot of people don't think they should have lost, ended up getting revenge in the SAC tournament. But they've rolled ever since with double-digit wins against Snyder, a big win over Blackhawk. They beat everyone there is to play in the area. I have one more team to beat right now, the Northside Legends. Last year, well, 2 years ago, they made it all the way to the state championship. Lost a tough game to Ben Davis. Last year, made it to the regional finals, lost to Carmel. Had some exceptional talent, Keon Brooks, Austin Boucher, Lucas Croft. Forget all that. Everyone's gone. They either graduated, transferred, or just stopped playing. So this Northside team, I think Mike Scott might have been on the roster last year, but I don't even see him here. So a complete rebuilding squad. And it's going to be a tough one for them tonight, but what's going to be a key for Northside if they want to be able to compete with Homestead?
Well, it's going to be a tough task, but they're going to have to somehow be able to shut down Luke Goody and Zach Kruger, the Spartans' two leading scorers. Goody averaging about 17 a game, Kruger about 14.4 a game. And earlier, as you mentioned, they're going to have to shut down those two players and just try to outscore Homestead, because we know that players such as Loomis and Grinsfelder can score baskets, but we're not expecting them to score way over 20 points, even though Loomis, I believe, did score 18 points against Snyder. You're just going to have to outscore this Homestead team. They do average about 55 points per game on the season. They have a very good defense. If you're Northside, you're just going to have to somehow be able to shut down Goody and Kruger and just find a way to outscore this Homestead team. This Homestead team has a very, very good defense. I mentioned top 15 in the state. It's going to be a very tough task for Northside if they want to win this one.
And lately we've seen for Homestead, Trent Loomis really stepped up his play. If Homestead gets to go like Trent Loomis playing very well, along with some of the star players like Zach Kruger and Luke Goody playing good, how tough is this team going to be to beat for anyone?
It's going to be very tough because Goody and Kruger both struggled in that Columbia City game, and Trent Loomis has stepped right in and led the team in scoring. I believe he had 12 points in that one out. Grinsfelder also had double figures. I believe he had 10. Goody and Kruger were each held to single digits, so it's so nice to know that you have other players step up, because after the first few games or so of the season, we weren't really sure who else was going to be the next person up. We saw Alec Grinsfelder had a good game against Lures, but then he got a few quiet ones the next few games. We weren't really sure if he was going to be a good scoring option, but Trent Loomis has really emerged, scoring 18 against Snyder. I believe Luke Goody outscored him by 1 point in the game. Luke Goody had 19, but still, 18 points is very impressive for a player we didn't really expect to score much at all coming into the season. His average is only 6.7 on the season, but the past 3 or 4 games, it's probably around 10 or so. He's been very impressive the past couple of games.
Homestead right now currently seen at 12-1, ranked 7th in the state, being a lot of tough teams, won a lot of tough games, currently hold the traveling trophy for Homestead. Who's a player that's going to be key in this one?
Well, you would have to think it's, well, there's quite a few different players that are key in this one. You could say Luke Goody, Trent Loomis, Zach Kruger, but I'm going to say Alec Grinsfelder. He's probably going to be guarded the 6'6" Demetrius Clark for Northside. He's only a sophomore, very, very big player. He's going to be a key matchup if Northside wants to pull off the upset in this one. So Alec Grinsfelder needs to have a good game on both sides of the floor, try to limit Clark, the 6'6" player for Northside, and provide some offense for this Homestead team.
And in that game against Columbia City, we saw Columbia City slow the game down against Homestead, kept them close for a lot of the way. Do you expect Northside to try any of that?
Well, you would think, based on that Homestead only won that one by 11, you would think that it's much closer, but it actually wasn't. Based on what I've heard, Columbia City has held the ball for basically the entire game, not really rushing to take a shot at all, tried to just limit this Homestead to fewer points by just not letting them have the ball as much as they usually do, fewer possessions. They didn't attempt near as many shots as they usually do just because they didn't get the ball because Columbia City was holding it. So if Northside watched some film in that Homestead and Columbia City game, they could definitely try to hold the ball a little bit longer, just try to find the right shot right shot selection. Don't rush anything if you're this Northside team.
And you expect Northside, you think they're going to play a little up-tempo, try and get out and run in this one?
You would think if they can get out to a nice and early lead in this one that they might try to slow it down after that. But I would think if they really don't get off to the right start and they start missing some shots that they should make early on in the season or early on in this game, that I think they would probably likely slow this one down, make Homestead take fewer shots just because they don't have the ball as much as what I would say.
And I believe you have some scores for us.
Yeah, that's some surprising scores from the girls' game that were earlier on. We saw Homestead defeat Northside by quite a wide margin, 78-16, I believe it was. That was quite a game. This is a crazy story. Snyder beating Concordia 51-39. The Snyder team lost to Homestead by 50 points 1 week ago. They've since beaten a one-loss Belmont team at the time and beaten Concordia, who was one of the top teams in the conference. They've fallen off, and we also have Carroll upsetting Southside 65-51. And with that Southside loss, Homestead girls clinched the SAC title outright. They're currently 8-0 on the season. Southside now 6-2 in the conference, 1 game remaining. So even if Homestead loses their next game, they still win the SAC regular season.
We're set for tip-off here. It'll be Alec Grinsfelder and Trayshawn Scholes set to tip. Homestead looking to win their 10th consecutive game, move on to 13-1 overall, 4-1 in the SAC. Northside looking for their first conference win. Have won a game on the road against South Adams. Tip is up, controlled by Homestead. It's Brett Miller in the backcourt who quickly hands it off to Kruger to start things off here for the Spartans. Takes it to the right side, hands it off to Brett Miller, who has it between the circles over to Loomis left wing. Grinsfelder now with it, free throw line, dribbles in, puts up a floater and hits it. Alec Grinsfelder gives the Spartans an early 2-0 lead with 7:40 left here in the first. Collins with it now right side for the Legends. The sophomore guard hands it off to Woods, dribbles to the right wing and kicks it out to Collins near midcourt. Gets a screen from Clark up top, spins around, dumps it into Clark, who passes it out to a man in the right corner, but it'll be wide right, sail out of bounds, so a turnover there for Northside. It'll be Homestead ball, 7:23 left here in the first, up 2-0. Kruger to take it up the court here for the Spartans. The junior guard second on the team in scoring. Goody now with it right wing into the post. Grinsfelder is pass deflected out. Bracknell recovers it for the Spartans. Loomis now with the left wing. Gives up to Kruger. Back to Loomis inside, who lays it up off the glass. Trent Loomis with 2. 4-0 Homestead. 7 minutes left here in the first. Collins to run the point here for the Legends. Looking for a legendary upset. Hands it up off top to Braden, who dribbles in to the right block. Steps it back out and hands it off to Woods on the right wing. Back out to midcourt for Collins. He dribbling now at the Spartan logo. 6:40 left here in the first. Homestead up 4-0. Gets a screen from Clark up top. Takes it to the top of the key. His pass for Clark is deflected. Stolen by Grinsfelder. Homestead with it now. Goody takes it to the right wing. Pump fakes into the post. Loomis. His shot from the right block. No good. Tipped out. Rebounded by Northside. It's Braden. Across half court on the right side. Now he has it at the right wing. 6:25 left in the first. Homestead up 4. Gets a screen up top from Clark. Takes it to the right wing. Spins a move around on Brett Miller, dumps it off to Clark. Clark passes it to Collins, a little too hot to handle, and it'll sail out of bounds. So a turnover here for Northside, their second of the game. It'll be Homestead ball here with 6:14 left in the first, up 4-0. As Jay Sean Hargraves checks into the game for Northside. Demetrius Clark heads out of the game with 2 early turnovers here for the Legends. Homestead ball up 4-0, 6:10 left here in the first quarter. Kruger running the point here for the Spartans. He takes it across half court at the Spartan logo. Passes it to Brett Miller, right back to Kruger. Into Loomis in the left corner, who sends it back out to Kruger into the post. Grinsfelder. His shot is blocked away by Scholes, knocked out of bounds, and will stay with Homestead here. A good defensive play from Trayshawn Scholes. And it'll be Homestead ball with 5:54 left here in the first, up 4. Northside yet to score in this one. Brad Miller inbound on the right side of the baseline. Gets into Grinsfelder. His shot up. Hits the front of the rim and falls. Alec Grinsfelder up to 4 points on the game. 6-0 Homestead. 5:45 left in the first. Collins crosses half court from Northside left side. Takes it to the left wing now and dribbles back out between the circles. Pulls up at the free throw line. Knocks down a mid-range jumper and gives the Legends their first points of the game. 6-2 Homestead. 5.5 left here in the first quarter. Brad Miller with it right wing. Back to Kruger up top. Over to Loomis in the left corner. He takes a 3 and knocks it down. Trent Loomis with the shot. 9-2 Homestead. 5:20 left here in the first. Collins across half court now. Gets a screen from Scholes up top. Crosses over. Takes it to the right elbow. Picks up his dribble. Loses it. Recovers it and keeps dribbling again. Crosses over on Kruger. Gets it stripped. Kruger with the steal for Homestead. Pushing across half court now. Other end, his layup off the glass. Up and in. Zach Kruger with the shot. And Homestead is off to an 11-2 lead with 4:59 left here in the first. What a start for the Spartans, and something we're getting a little used to.
For sure, what a start for the Spartans. You just mentioned they always get off to such Hot Stars currently up 11-2 about 3 minutes into this first quarter. Northside only one basket, which was scored by Collins, but Trent Loomis already with 5 early points. Alec Grinsfelder with a couple baskets. He's up to 4. Kruger and Goody combined for only 2 of the team's 11 points based on that Kruger layup right there. So Homestead playing very, very well to start this first quarter.
Homestead playing very well. We've seen them got off to a lot of hot starts. Got off to a hot start against Snyder. Never looked back. Got off to a hot start against Blackhawk, but they worked their way back in, eventually falling to the Spartans, however. It'll be Legends ball here with 4:59 left in the first. They're down 11-2. It'll be Hargraves to take it up the court for the Legends here, the 6-foot sophomore guard. Gives it up to Braden in the backcourt. Over to Hargraves, a high pass, but he recovers it still in the backcourt, and that'll be a 10-second. Northside, with little pressure, couldn't get it over, and an unforced error. It'll be Homestead ball, 4:47 left in the first, up 11-2. Brett Miller to inbound, he gets into Kruger in the backcourt here. Homestead with an early 9-point lead, a hot start for the Spartans. They like to advance to 13-1. Kruger hands it off to Brett Miller up top. He dribbles to the left elbow and kicks out to Grinsfelder at top of the key. Into Goody, who lays it in. Luke Goody with a shot off the glass, and Homestead leads 13-2 with 4.5 left here in the first. It's Braden with it up top. Now Scholes in the right corner. He takes a 3, and air ball tipped out of bounds off of Loomis. So they'll stay with Northside. A good bounce for them there. And they'll have the ball looking to cut into this Homestead 11-point lead with 4:21 left in the first. Hargraves inbounds it to Collins on the left side, who lobs it in. So Woods, he lays it in. An alley-oop layup, and Northside cuts the Homestead lead to 13-4, 4:10 left here in the first. Kruger over to Grinsfelder, right corner. He dribbles in on Woods, steps back and gets it out to Kruger. Loomis with it up top now, who passes into Goody, into Kruger, who gets an easy shot off the glass, wide open. 15-4 Homestead, 3:55 left in the first. Northside struggling on the defensive end, right ball, and they just sailed a pass out of bounds. Turnover after turnover for the Legends, and Homestead rolling right now with 3:51 left in the first, up 15-4. Shy win now into the game for Northside. Very beyond Brandon. Braden takes a seat. Homestead up 15-4, 3:51 left here in the opening quarter of play here from Spartan Arena. Kruger with it at the midcourt logo now, gets over to Brett Miller on the right wing. Up top now, Goody swings it over to Kruger on the left wing. Passes it to Brett Miller, over to Goody now in the right corner. He takes a 3, in and out. Grinsfelder with the offensive board, and he's going to get fouled here. This one will be called on the floor, and it'll be charged to Rodney Woods. That'll be his first foul of the game and the team's second. Brett Miller to inbound underneath his own basket here. 3:32 left in the first. Homestead up 15-4. Gets into Goody on the right wing. Over to Brett Miller, right corner now. Back to Goody. He passes it to Kruger between the circles, who hands it off to Kruger. Grinsfelder with it inside now in the paint. Out to Brett Miller. He takes a 3 up top and knocks it down. Zach Brett Miller with his first points of the game. And Homestead leads 18-4 with 3:10 left in the first. Hargraves with it now. Homestead trying to trap. He gets it over to Collins nonetheless on the right side. Back to Hargraves, who takes it in. Passes it out to Collins. He'll take a right wing 3. Wide off the left of the rim. Rebound by Northside. Hargraves with it at the right elbow. He takes a jumper. Too strong, but it bounces back out to him. He gets into the post for Scholes. Gets it knocked away, and Brett Miller has the steal for the Spartans. Gives up to the Kruger, who pushes it across half court. Gives it up to Goody, over to Loomis, who lays it in. Trent Loomis with the layup, 24 Homestead. 2:35 left in the first. Northside struggling on the defensive end right now. Hargraves with it left side. His pass stolen by Grinsfelder, other end. Goody now. He has it top of the key. He steps into a 3. Got it! Luke Goody with the 3. 23-4 Homestead. What an opening quarter for Homestead. They lead 23-4, 2:21 left in the first.
Wow, what a start for this Homestead team. 23 points. Northside only 4. They scored 42 points against Columbia City back on Tuesday night. That was Homestead. 42 points they scored on